Welcome to Word of Twist Tarot with me, Kev. And today we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive. I asked the question, why do people trust blindly? And when I pulled the cards, these were the three that showed up. And so before I get started, I want to thank all of you who are joining me today. If this is your first time here, thank you very much for joining Word of Twist Tarot. And for all my followers, thank you as well, because without you, this channel would not exist. Now to get started, why? Why would somebody just blindly trust and do as they're told? Well, it was the moon that kind of got me thinking. And this is really the theme of the issue, right? It's because that most people are confused and they need to believe in an authority figure because that's what they're taught by society. And that they're also then taught to what? Never trust in themselves. And so then, in a sense, they're the dog. They've been very domesticated through media and government run institutions. They've been taught to do what they're told and not to do what they think. In other words, they've been stripped of their spirit and they walk in the fear of their own shadows. That's the false light. And that's the fear because true light isn't scary, but false light is. And that's the manipulation from tyrants. And so then it's been evangelized across the nation from the bottom ranks all the way to the top, the White House, school teachers, police officers, you name it, that no matter what you do, it'll harm you, right? So don't try, just do what you're told and take the handout. So what happens to people to make them into that position of trusting blindly is that they end up trekking in this dread as their abuser's propaganda just bombards them daily. And even it could be a spouse, it could be a lover, it could be a friend, anyone in a position of authority. And you ask me, well, how could a relationship be authority? Because you allow it, you know? Well, if I don't do what he or she says, they're going to leave me. And then it'll show them I don't love them. Well, that's BS. It's nonsense. That's the moon. That's the fear. That's the insecurity right within. So then how can you get over those challenges? How can you avoid those blockers? Well, it then came down to the Four of Wands. And that's the fire energy. Now, why would I say that? It's because it's the Four of Wands they use that get you into the mindset that you have no control or stability in your life. They do. They have the control and stability that you so-called seek. And then it's these narcissists who preach their so-called truths that end up stripping your life away. You become the victim of them. And what it does is it leaves you injured, feeling worthless. And then in the end, what happens? People become the supply to these demons who extinguish the fire energy that's within your soul. And that's the reason why people follow blindly. It's really out of a position of fear, not out of love. Because if people loved one another, then they wouldn't have to trust blindly. They could question. So then how do you move forward? How do you move forward so that you don't trust anyone blindly? And that led me to the Five of Swords in the reverse position. And what this tells us is an interesting thing. This is a mind card. And it's telling you, don't bite. Don't play their game. Instead, you're going to refuse to believe their lies no matter how believable they may appear. And then instead, you're going to learn to rely on yourself for the answer, not them, right? Not them. It's you. You rely on yourself. And when you do that, the mind is no longer riddled with conflict. The conflict that they created with the fear, right? The propaganda, the bombardment every single day. And so once people realize that these criminals are actually match manipulators, the five reverse, don't play the games, and your eyes have been opened, then all these things that they play, all these games that they push on you, they don't work anymore. And so no matter how desperate these liars become, it doesn't matter because you see right through the quote unquote bullshit. Excuse my language. So then how do numbers tie into all this? Well, that's a very interesting question. When I went to numerology to see, like, does this even align with what I just said or how I read these cards? Actually, it does. And it's interesting because you have an 18 plus a 4 and then a 5, which gives you a 27. And then you take the 2 plus the 7, right, the combined numbers, you get a 9. And what this tells us is that it goes both ways. And what I mean by that is that if people don't open their eyes and they don't stop believing everything they're told, then these abusers, these narcissists attain their goal, control over all. You become the ultimate supply. So instead, if people open their eyes and see these monsters for who they actually are, then what? People obtain freedom. They're no longer imprisoned by the narcissist mind, and that's a beautiful thing. So then why? Why is that? Because it's all about the moon. It all goes back to the 18. Because every one of us must always trust our guts, trust your intuition, because it's a gift that we have within. The problem is we've been told that that's all a bunch of malarkey, but it's not. Everybody has the gift of intuition and everybody has the gift of trusting their gut, but they don't. But then if you do trust your gut and don't believe the nonsense, what happens then? You have the Four of Wands arises over the mental games played in the Five of Swords. So then these elite abusers, and elite is anybody who has power over you or thinks they do, can no longer control you or anyone else. And that, my friends, is an amazing, beautiful thing. So at the end of the day, the story here is do not trust blindly and instead question and challenge everything. That's my message for today. And that's a little bit of deep dive into tarot insights and some questions that I had that I'm sharing with you. And if you enjoyed this little reading, please smash that subscribe button below, give it a like, and if you're new here, please subscribe for more tarot insights. And until again, take care and bye-bye.